Remember when I was saying that the streaming industry had matured and there wasn't a lot of growth potential there any longer? And do you remember when Netflix crashed and then Disney crashed and a lot of these other services are starting to drive crashes of their own studios and companies? Well, it's going to get worse, and let me tell you, the name of the game will be Churn, and I don't know that there will be a bigger survivor than Netflix, but it's an interesting subject, and one that I think if you're an investor, you should be paying attention to. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. Once again, Variety VIP has done it. They have nailed the subject matter with a lot of great data and an excellent article and some decent analysis, although they do, for whatever reason, recognize Parrot Analytics as something that people should pay attention to, but let's set that aside. So from the article, Feel the Churn, what the changing SVOD market means for streamers. Well, if the main battle of the streaming wars thus far has been to gain as many subscribers as possible, the next major fight will be to keep them. No kidding. I've been saying this for a while. I said, and I will continue to say, we're already at the maturity of these services. Yes, Disney may have some room for growth. Yes, HBO Max probably has a lot more room for growth, but for the most part, you're not going to see the type of megalithic Megadon monster growth out there any longer. It's just not going to happen. Subscriber churn is a persistent and growing problem for streamers trying to build sustainable user bases. And here's some of the problems. The proliferation of streaming services has naturally led to an uptick in churn over the last 3 years. That's right. More options, more choices, less, loyalty, shall we say. And that has obviously affected churn. In fact, SVOD churn rate grew from 3.2% to 5.2%, going up quite a bit. And again, a lot of this churn was managed during a period of time when, for the most part, everybody was stuck at home. In addition, 1/3 of consumers surveyed in a recent Deloitte report had both added and canceled a streaming subscription in the past 6 months. At least that was as of December 2021. Let me tell you, that's a lot of turnover. And it's from a generation that you wouldn't expect, the millennials. Gen Z is just below them. Gen X is less likely. And of course, boomers don't really cancel much. Millennials seem to be the ones that hang on to things the least, at least according to the numbers, the changes that are around these paid streaming services. This would be the best case scenario for the foreseeable future. Churn will only accelerate, obviously, as the economic climate worsens and consumers cut back on unnecessary spending amid rampant inflation, which is going to affect about 70 of the 120 countries that are affected by the World Bank. And of course, it's also going to affect us here in North America and our South American neighbors. So we have a looming recession. In fact, they say it here on paper. I'm not saying that. I've been saying we're in a recession because I think we are. So the question will become, which services will be considered unnecessary or worth canceling? That's an interesting way to ask that question. Obviously, the answer will vary depending upon the household. Again, they point out quite accurately that Disney Plus will be for households where you have young ones at home. Although I don't know why. Disney seems to be tilting a lot of their content towards older folks, and I don't know, your takeaway is as good as mine when it comes to that. But probably the most valuable asset, according to Variety and me, is still going to be Netflix. The big red N, of course, is down right now. And other major streamers are on the way up as far as subscriber growth. But they're not down that much. The service's monthly churn rate jumped a full percentage point between December and March in that quarter. This reaction was likely caused by their January price increase. Well, it certainly didn't help. Right now, you can get a plan between $10 a month, $9.99, and $20 a month, $19.99. Might as well round up the penny. Netflix is now among the most expensive SVOD services out there, and if you compare that to the Disney bundle as they do here, well, they're trying to make it seem like Disney has more to offer, which, to be honest with you, I disagree. Aside from the live TV stuff with Hulu. Maybe that's it. But while Netflix growth has stalled, at least for now, we're not seeing its user base crumble. As a pioneer in the streaming space and likely the first VOD subscription service most consumers ever purchased, Netflix is still synonymous with streaming television for pretty much everybody. Nielsen data shows that Netflix has remained the most watched individual streaming service, with its share of TV time consistently between 6 and 7% over the last year. The share of global demand for original content, while down over the last few years, still remains at a staggering plurality of 45% versus Amazon's 11%, and that's free if you have obviously Prime, and Disney's 8.8%, which I think is fairly disappointing. At least this is again according to Parrot Analytics, which, as I said, might as well be sticking your finger in the air. A recent report by Hub Entertainment found that 68% of Netflix users ranked the service as a must-have, as opposed to a nice-to-have, or something they could obviously do without. The new Netflix numbers puts them on par with YouTube, a platform Hub reports notes that for which there is no easy substitute. That's true. Platforms like this here on YouTube and the other places where this video will be streamed, well, they're invaluable because they're completely different. So it really does make Netflix the most valuable SVOD service among its users by a staggering margin. I just gave you those numbers. Probably what's most concerning if you're one of these streaming entities is that we're probably entering a marketplace that will be made up largely of people that are savvy enough to just bounce between services whenever they are interested in something that might be there. That's not good. Juggling subscriptions is bad for the streaming service, and that will be a churn and return model that nobody, as far as the streamers and the studios are concerned, nobody there is going to be very excited about. Q1 of 2022 saw nearly 30 million sub cancellations in the United States alone. There were 37 million additions. That's another sign that consumers are shuffling their subscriptions up. And the data that comes from Antenna, the research company that's putting out a lot of these numbers, indicates that many users who canceled their Netflix subscription signed up for another streaming service that same quarter. You can see those numbers here. So as you can see, this is a portrait of, consumers adapting to an overcrowded marketplace, and it's very expensive to subscribe to one of these services. You can't possibly afford to subscribe to them all. At least most people just aren't willing to do it. So they're going to pick and choose, and that will be bad news for everybody, Netflix included. But what do you think? Do you think that we're going to start to see some major reductions in the number of streaming service subscribers that are out there? I think so. As the economic engine winds down and not up, people will have less disposable income, and they will rely on one, possibly two streaming services rather than 3 or 4, which means the also-rans are going to be in a rough position to recruit and keep those subscribers. Do you think that perhaps Netflix is still the dominant party in this race? I think it is. But again, if you have any thoughts on this subject matter, or you have answers to the questions I just posed, please utilize the comment section down below, and hopefully we can engage in a dialogue. I really appreciate that. I love it when you guys comment, and it really does help drive engagement for the channel. Be sure to check out the new Cultured Builds channel that I put together. It's a DIY channel if you're interested in that kind of thing. A new video will be released today, and that is June 8th. We also have some more content coming over there that should be interesting, some quick projects, and some lengthy ones like the one that will be there today. Support other independent creators, of course. They absolutely are doing the bulk of the work when it comes to actual independent reporting on pretty much everything from pop culture and entertainment to just regular news items, and give them the kind of support that they deserve by liking their videos and sharing them out if you happen to enjoy them, and of course subscribe to the ones that you absolutely can't do without. And with that being said, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. It really is. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.